Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to be showing you that all you need to color a good portrait or a face in a coloring book or in watercolor, the only colors you need are green and red. Yes. So this is true with watercolor paints or watercolor pencils. In this case, I'm going to be using Inktense pencils here. Yeah, so the first thing you want to do, which I showed in the last video or a couple of videos ago, you want to swatch all of your Inktense, and then you can just pick any reddish color that you want. So I chose the scarlet pink color here for the red parts, and then of course you want a green color to be the shadow. It's the opposite on the color wheel from red to green, so you want green will be for the shading in the face. And again, you can choose any green you want. I chose the felt green. So I haven't tried all the combinations, but whichever one you feel works for your picture. So here I have just drawn on my watercolor paper. This is Fabriano, in case you're wondering. 25% cotton. It's a good economy paper. I love it. Very smooth. Okay, so I drew two faces here in case I want to make another one. And I'm going to show you how you do this with a coloring book or with any face that you want to use Inktense or watercolor with. So first, you could just go over the whole face with a light covering of the red pencil. Of course, not the eyes, obviously, but everywhere else on the face. And since it is watercolor type pencil here, I don't have to be too concerned with the strokes because it's going to be taken up by the water. The word for it's going to be dissolved. That's the word. It took me a little while there. The water's going to dissolve it. So, and this is just great because, with color pencil, people have all kinds of skin color kits and all these different pencils for all the different shades. But with watercolor or with Inktense, you only need these two. So now the second thing is sometimes when you just try to dissolve this with a watercolor brush, I'm using the Caran d'Ache brushes. Sometimes what happens is, or if you use a regular paintbrush and you try to dissolve this, it doesn't all, you might find that you're not able to get rid of some lines there. It doesn't all dissolve well. Here I'm using just a regular brush. It does a pretty decent job. And here it seems to be working just fine. But if you find that you're brushing using a brush or watercolor brush and it's just not dissolving certain lines, maybe you do too dark, maybe you drew the line too darkly, then that's when a great thing to try is the marker tip of the Caran d'Ache. They're the only ones that make a marker tip, as far as I know, with watercolor, with a water brush. And then you can press down with that and it will dissolve everything. I mean, as long as you didn't really, ram down the pencil, it should dissolve everything. So now the marker takes longer though, so I'm going to go back to the brush because the brush will be faster just to get this done. Actually, I think I'm going to just use a regular brush. I like using I'm going to use my silver and black velvet brush with water. It's just faster. So doing a big space like this is taking too long. Another advantage to using a brush is you can move it around, the color around a bit more. bit easier than with the marker tip. The marker tip, you're sort of just can control that one area, but here with a brush you can quickly spread it all around. So now you're saying, wait, it's so red. That is okay. Is it okay? I don't know. So then I'm going to take the green pencil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just take the green color directly from the pencil onto here and blend that into all this red area. Now if the area starts looking green, don't worry. All you have to do is go back, take a little bit of red, add that on top of the area that's you see too much green coming through, and you'll get a nice balanced tone there. Now this is looking very red here, so I'm going to shade this in with the green. And I'm going to put the shading in where we normally see shading on a face, between the eyes, down the nose. And I know that it's looking very green, but don't panic. Just go back, add some red on top of it. You can do it, I mean, even if it dries first, that's okay. You can wait till it dries and then add it on top afterwards. It doesn't have to be right away. Now with Inktense pencils, unlike watercolor, if you don't blend it in right away, it'll leave a line there. You gotta be really fast with Inktense if you decide to use it for the whole face. And now as the Inktense dries, you'll notice it gets much, much lighter. So when you first look at it, it seems so red. You're like, oh my goodness, that face looks too red. But then you'll see as it's drying out, that red is getting pinker and pinker and pinker. So that when it's done drying, you're going to see it's a very light. Inktense is when you just put a light wash down, it's very light. It's a very light. Yeah, so I'm going to let that dry for a minute. Okay, so now it's dried. And I put a little too much red here and not enough there, so it's uneven, which is fine. I can even that out. So either I can make the whole face more of this redder color, or I could make this side a shaded color, but I'm just going to make the whole face just a little bit redder. I might end up with a redder looking face here. And it looks funny now because you're not seeing the hair around it in the eyes, but when I finish the whole thing, you'll see that it's actually not as this color red is not as too dark. It looks like it might be too dark of a red right now, but it's really not. So see, I see some lines there that aren't being picked up by the brush, so now I'm going in with my marker tip and I'm clearing out those lines that are not changing. So that happens when you use these pencils. The brush, even if you put a lot of water on the brush, it might not pick up all the lines. So, and you have to move quickly with Inktense. You can't wait around, so you want to have that marker tip ready to go, and you can just sort of make sure those lines are dissolved. Then go back with the brush to get a nice smooth smoother See here, I got a few lines there, so I'm going to go with the marker brush, just goes right in and blurs out those lines, no problem. It's wonderful. So, which is a must for Inktense pencils, especially because Inktense, like I said, once it's activated and it dries, it's permanent, so you don't want any lines in there if you can avoid it. So using the marker tip is just sort of like going in with a magic marker and just fixing it up. Not so comfortable with a brush there. Alright, so notice I keep the nose lighter. It's going to be a light area. The chin, I'm trying to keep a little lighter. And the cheeks a little bit. So it's really just going back and forth with the red and the green. So I've added red all over. I'm going to go back to the green with my brush and sort of paint in, again, wherever I think there's going to be dark areas on the face, eyebrow, the nose, under the nose. And again, don't panic if it looks green. We're just going to cover it over with the red again. So I didn't put shading like all around the sides of the face, basically. Just going over, trying not to avoid any harsh lines, except around the nose. The nose could be a prominent line there. Okay. So now I'm going to go and add, still looks very green, so I'm going to go over the very green points. I'm just going to take the red right from the pencil, just tap it. I wash off in between colors, I wash off the brush and I tap it on a paper towel so there's not too much water on it. You don't need a lot of water on your brush to go over from the red to the green. So wherever it looks too green, you just go in with the red and go right over it. And do it as many times as you need to. If you go over it with the red, now it looks too red, go back over a little more green. But be aware that every time you add a color, it's going to get darker and more vivid. It's going to get more and more saturated is the word. So here I'm just using red and green, just two colors. And remember that it dries lighter, much lighter. When you combine the red and the green, of course, you end up with this. Depending on what red you're using and what green you're using, it's going to vary, the exact shade, but it's going to be a brown, brown, brownish, grayish type of color here. So I'm going to add a little more red over here. I want this to be darker here, more saturated. So now again, if the picture's already dried, you can always add the color on top of it. Inktense is excellent for layering multiple layers. You can add as many layers as you need to. And just keep layering and layering. I'm putting the lips in now. So I'm going to make this nice and red. Again, I'm going in with the green there. Alright, so I get the base of the face. So I'm pretty much done with the skin portion of the face for right now. It's not very attractive because I didn't I didn't put a lot of time into this drawing. I just wanted to quickly show you how you can do skin with red and green only. And now I'm going to fill in the rest of the face so that you can see how it, right now it looks, you know, too red. It's a little messy. I didn't do it as neatly as I could have. You could do a lot smoother job that I just did. I just wanted to show you the two colors mixing together and how it comes out and how you only need green and red. So now I'm going to fill in the rest. I got charcoal gray I'm going to be using here. And I'm going to be filling in the face, even though it's not going to be the most attractive face. But I'm going to show you that, you know, this red skin actually will look pretty good in the end. So here we go. I'm just using circular motions. I think using circular motions is the best idea, because if you want to start using it with the lines, trouble sometimes dissolving it. But again, you get the marker tip. Face is a little lopsided. I didn't draw it very well. My apologies. Not the most attractive face there. I'll give her black here. So she's got charcoal hair, charcoal eyebrows here, and dark eyeliner. Alright, here we go. Again, I'm going back to using my brush. Activating this. You can use the charcoal to add even another layer of shading. There, I put it down the nose there. And again, if you're not getting all the lines, I'm seeing some, it's not all dissolving, going in with my marker to make sure it's all getting dissolved. There we go. Again, I put my paintbrush in the water and then tap it on a paper towel to get rid of the excess water, and then, you know, I'm just quickly doing this to show you how the skin looks with, you know, completed, get an idea of how it looks anyways. So you can see now when you put in the hair and the eyes and everything, you can see that the face, the redness of the face looks, it goes with it. It's not, it's realistic. In other words, it's not. And again, you can play with it some more with the shading, you know. Again, back to the green and red pencils that I'm doing. Now this would be, it's more realistic looking with regular watercolor pencils because, again, I'm using Inktense, so that's going to give you more vivid results. But it still looks, you know, passable. It still looks... It depends on what look you're looking for. You know, if you don't mind a vivid, if you're looking for that. I mean, if you're using Inktense, you're probably going to like having more vivid looking face. Mouth is a little off center there. Didn't do a very good job drawing this mouth. And again, I got a line there, so I'm taking out my marker here and dissolving that. I'm going to shade it in the eyes. I don't want the eyes too white looking. Yeah. So there you have it. I'm just using 3 colors here. Red, green, and charcoal. It's all I used to draw this. A little painting here. So now I'm using the charcoal here. My face here. It's not my face, but a face here that I drew that I still see. I'm going to get that dissolved. That's not the most attractive face, but you know, the colors work though. The colors. There we go. There, so as you can see, the skin tone looks fine. I mean, with I add some more red over here. A little bit more down there. So you really don't need any. I'm going to use the green again. So these shaded areas. You really don't need all these different skin tone colors to get a realistic looking face. Now going back to the charcoal gray, I'm going to add some more because the hair has gotten really light now. Should probably just jump to black. So when I I use the brush on the pencil. It gives me a very, when you want a lot of color, you know, because I'm doing the hair now, I want to just make it really dark really fast. I'm gonna to keep adding a little bit more water to my brush. You know, I dip it in the water and then dab it on the paper towel so it's not too much water. So I can just play a little around this with this. Now the redness that was here before that seemed too much is totally gone, right? Because as you add more color to it, it balances out. So I'm going to just add some more red here on the sides because you do have shading. It works with the hair and everything. It shades. Usually the forehead is a bit shaded. So back to the green. Where's my green? There. So add a little more green. So that's it. There you have it. So only colors you need to do a realistic portrait with the watercolor pencils or Inktense pencils here. You only need red and green, and you can get a very realistic, hopefully better looking face than the one than the one I drew here. But you get a very realistic, imagine this with a nicely drawn face. He's still very realistic and comes out great. You know, I think just two colors, red and green. All right, so that's all I want to show you. I hope you enjoyed this. If so, please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.